guys, welcome back to Halftime. If you've been following soccer news in the last week, you will know that the entire world was shocked when the proposal of the Super League was announced. If you don't know what it is, the Super League was a proposal put forward by 12 of the biggest teams in Europe. They basically wanted to create a new league in addition to their European and domestic competitions. The Italian teams involved were AC Milan, Juventus, and Inter Milan. There was a ton of criticism, a ton of backlash, and because of that, as of today, the project has been suspended and placed on standby. To discuss a little bit more about the reaction out of Europe, today I'm speaking to Carlo Garganese. He's a soccer journalist from Italy, based out of the UK. Carlo, thank you for joining us. What were your initial reactions when the Super League was announced?
As a football fan, I was very, very disappointed because this is something that I think would have been very, very bad for football.
Now, obviously, that was one of the biggest reasons why it was put on standby. It was these potential bans from UEFA, these potential bans from FIFA. Do you think if it hadn't been for that, this could have been a good idea?
I think I can't look past the fact that it was a closed shop, which I know in North America, in the US especially, that the sports there, they do have these closed tournaments where it's just 20 teams or however many teams it is, and they play. There's no promotion or relegation. In Europe, that is just something that the people just generally just can't accept that. As for UEFA and FIFA, I think that they did play a role, but I think the fans played a role. There was a lot of protests, especially in England, and also even political interference. The English government got involved. Even Prince William got involved. So there was a lot of pressure that was put on, and I think that's why it didn't go through in the end.
Now, this was something that we saw a lot with fans pushing back and specifically saying, we're fans, we're not clients. Do you think that this pushback from fans would have been enough if it hadn't been for prominent figures, like you said, like Prince William, James Corden, Boris Johnson, getting involved in the conversation?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of people that say that actually it wasn't the fans who made the difference in the end. It was a business decision both ways. I mean, I know some people within Chelsea, close to people at Chelsea and at Arsenal, who said that actually the fans didn't really make that much difference. It was more because sponsors, investors, the people that make the money, make the difference. In those ways, they're the ones that really piled the pressure on and made them change their minds.
Now, obviously in North America, the fan reaction is a little different because we are used to this format in sports, but coming out of Europe, do you think this is affecting the reputation of the teams involved? Specifically a team like AC Milan, who historically has been all about their fan base.
It's difficult to say because I think definitely locally, I think I would separate between England and Italy. In England, definitely there was a massive fan backlash. As for Italy, it's a little bit different because I actually put a tweet out asking this question. I said, I'd love to know what Milan, Juventus and Inter fans, have you lost a bit of love for your club? And it was more mixed. It was those that were saying, yeah, I've lost a bit of love, but there was those that were saying, no, I'm still 100% behind my club. I think it was the right decision. We needed to do this. It's a bit of both.
The president of Real Madrid saying, football needed to be saved. Football needs this to survive, and especially blaming it on the pandemic. Do you think that we're at a point where football needs to be saved?
Yeah, it needs to be saved, but not in the way that they were trying to save it. Because what the Super League clubs are saying is that we're so much in debt, so they think that the only way to save football is basically to move to this league and get more revenue in. But that's just the wrong way about going about it. I mean, what needs to be done is that for starters, the costs need to be cut because players are, the wages, salaries, and transfer fees are like this. They're just totally out of control. I think there needs to be salary caps. I think that there needs to be more fan ownership. There's a lot of things that need to be done, really.
Now, Carlo, before we let you go, I do have to ask you about the Champions League because there were 3 teams involved in the Super League that are in the semis right now. Do you think that there should be any kind of penalty imposed on these teams for their involvement in the Super League?
Oh yeah, I would. If I was making a decision, I definitely would. I mean, I always cheer for the little guy, so I'm always the anti-establishment man. Everyone makes fun of me all the time, so I would. But seriously, I just think that they shouldn't be allowed to just go away and just do their own thing and think they're above everyone else. That's the saddest thing about all this, is that, you know, there's even like people within the clubs, high-ranking executive positions at these clubs, that didn't even know they were planning this. Like Paolo Maldini, for example, at Milan, who's like the biggest legend in that club's history. You know, like one of the senior positions. He didn't even know. He came out earlier in the week and said, "I didn't even know about this until after it'd been announced." You know, so this kind of shows that there was just a few, you know, people at the top who basically just wanted to take over the game and thought they were above everyone else. So yeah, absolutely. I think there should be, you know, an example should be set. Whether that will happen, again, I don't know.